You know you're struggling with executive function if you make a to-do list and then immediately lose it. You know you're struggling with executive function if you sit down to start a task and then somehow end up deep diving into the history of picture frames. You know you're dealing with executive dysfunction if you set a reminder to check your other reminders and you have about 10 of them, or perhaps 10 alarms. You know you're struggling with executive dysfunction if you spend 45 minutes planning how to start, but then never actually start. Or you know you're dealing with executive function dysfunction when you find your phone in the freezer again for the third time this week, or end up at the store and have no shoes. So I could go on all day, but have you ever felt like traditional executive function recommendations and classes are about as useful as a screen door on a submarine? Yeah, we do too. Most executive function classes are set up to teach the average brain, handing out checklists and calendars and pep talks about prioritization with a matrix. Yay! Been there, done that. I absolutely include those tried and true and scientifically tested methods recommended for the average student in the evaluations I offer. However, I include under that, in big bold footnotes, modifications that actually work, that actually make the method work for the specific brain wiring that your student has. So, yes, big box store bought planners work for the average everyday brain that they're designed for, and they're taught to do it, but it just doesn't cut it for a brain that's differently wired. Can't store bought things for that. Forcing a neurodivergent brain to function like a neurotypical one is a surefire way to create anxiety, crush self esteem, and cause a whole lot of frustration for the student, the parent, and the teacher. It's like filling your electric car with gasoline and giving your kid a fork to eat soup. It doesn't work, it makes things harder. The challenge isn't just knowing what to do, knowing that this is a calendar, this is Monday, and this is Friday. It's knowing the modifications needed, the brain wiring that's there to actually make these things work. And teaching kids about their brains. You hand a kid a fork and soup, and they know you're crazy. But you hand a differently wired kid a planner and a checklist, and they have no idea you're asking them to bend the laws of the universe and to climb Mount Everest on crutches. Everyone else is able to do it, so why not them? And then their spirit is crushed bit by bit. The sooner they learn and you learn how their brain works and start adapting strategies to fit them instead of trying to force a round peg in a square hole, the better. Right? This is why the number one step true experts recommend is teaching a child about their brain. And this is why I include so much science and actual brain wiring, discovering, and teaching in my course. I tell my kids, okay, here's a demo. Here's a test. Take notice. What does your brain feel like when you see this? How does it feel to you? Because it's going to tell you a lot about your wiring and how to make life work for you. Make it easier. Everyone loves easy, right? So coming from a wonderfully differently wired family, one of the few girls actually diagnosed with ADHD in the 90s, I studied executive function dysfunction for decades before choosing a path of neuroscience, and as the typical ADHDer, especially a 2E ADHDer, doing school psychology, college path, graduate classes in atypical learning and motivation, neurodivergence and counseling, getting a nursing degree, and working in nutrition and metabolism on the side. I've been there, done that, and have the inside research knowledge that helps kids who need to do things differently. This course isn't about forcing them into convention or conventional methods. Instead, we teach students how to hack their brains, tweak their neurochemicals, and flip the script on their learning. The beauty about our methods is that they work for the average brain too. They actually work better for them too, because we teach motivation. We teach highly engaging, highly creative, individual methods. We show them how to make tasks easier, faster, more enjoyable, more automatic, so they can actually have time for the things they would rather be doing. Now, full disclosure, this isn't a magic fix. If your child isn't willing to roll up their sleeves and try something new, this might not be the right fit at this time. But if they're ready to figure out their brains, to discover, what works for them and what could make their life a tiny, tiny, tiny bit easier, okay, a lot easier, then this can be a game changer for them. Our team, not just me, they're engaging, warm, battle-hardened, of years of working with neurodivergent learners, including ADHD, autism, pathological demand avoidance, oppositional defiance, dyslexia, dysgraphia, and many other labels given to kids these days. So we meet kids exactly where they are and help them to build real, usable skills that actually work with their individual brain. And parents, we don't leave you out. About every week, because some weeks we'll have a couple, and other weeks I give you a break to kind of catch up. You'll receive a parent support lecture via email, Outschool email, taken from my private self-paced parent course, a full year's worth of insights on what your child is learning and how you can support them at home and yourself in building these skills at no extra cost. It's all included in this course. So think of it as your backstage pass to understanding the magic happening in our classroom and what's going on underneath their hood. So if you're ready for a class that truly understands that it isn't a lack of trying, your kid isn't lazy, but just blocked by a system that doesn't understand them, join us. Let's turn those quirks into their own secret weapons and watch them grow in ways you might not have imagined, but you hoped for.